The Newsday continues here on One News Now. I'm Jago Castro. President Bongbong Marcos led the commemoration of the 81st Day of Valor at the Mount Samat Shrine in Bataan. In his speech, Marcos Jr. honored war veterans and the fallen heroes during the fall of Bataan. He said the country lost great men and women that time, but those who were in war now work together for peace. The president also praised the heroes during the COVID-19 pandemic for showing noble quality of heroism. The Day of Valor is usually celebrated on April 9, but it was moved to April 10 in line with holiday economics.
We can look to the future with confidence, girded with the knowledge that the most noble Filipino quality of heroism is a flame and burns brightly in every true Filipino. For that, we thank our heroes, those who fought and bled and died here.
The Bureau of Animal Industry sounds the alarm on the African swine fever as it spreads to 54 provinces. That's according to a report by the Philippine Star. Latest data from the BAI shows that ASF has been detected in 460 municipalities across the country. The Bureau says only 20 provinces remain ASF-free. Agriculture Assistant Secretary Rex Estoperez earlier said that ASF has become a national concern. Estoperez also assured that President Bongbong Marcos is fully abreast of the extent of the outbreak. The Agriculture Department has begun reaching out to LGUs to harmonize the implementation of measures to prevent the further spread of the virus. The total number of registered SIM cards have reached over 62 million as of April 7. The Department of Information and Communications Technology said more registered their SIM cards during the Holy Week. Of the number, more than 31 million are smart subscribers, over 26 million are with Globe, and some 4 million registrants are from Ditto. However, the registration turnout so far is only 36% of the total SIM cards sold nationwide as tallied by the DICT. The SIM registration is set to end on April 26, which could still be extended by up to 120 more days upon the discretion of the government. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. More Filipinos are returning to Metro Manila today after spending the long Holy Week break in the provinces. The Manila International Airport Authority reports that there were no congestion at the 4 terminals of NAIA during the Holy Week, citing high on-time performance. The MIAA has yet to release official figures on passenger count this Holy Week. But according to their latest update, almost 600,000 passengers were recorded from April 1 to 15. Some 1.2 million passengers were initially expected to pass through the country's main gateway this Holy Week. Also, with the reopening of borders, the NAIA reports that passenger tally more than doubled in the first quarter at 10.8 million. That's a 158% increase from over 4.2 million passengers that traveled through NAIA in the first 3 months of last year. The Philippine Coast Guard, meanwhile, reports that over 130,000 passengers flocked to different ports across the country on Easter Sunday. From 6 a.m. to noon yesterday, the PCG logged over 74,000 outbound passengers and some 59,000 inbound passengers in ports nationwide. And from midnight to 6 a.m. today, the Coast Guard monitored more than 14,000 outbound passengers and some 17,000 inbound passengers. Almost 2,800 frontline personnel have been deployed by the PCG to inspect vessels and motor bancas. District stations and substations of the Coast Guard were placed on heightened alert to manage the expected influx of passengers during the Holy Week. Heads up to Filipinos traveling back to their homes after the Holy Week break. A low-pressure area has spotted within the Philippine area of responsibility early this morning. As of 3 a.m., Pagasa says the LPA was estimated at 905 kilometers east of Mindanao. The State Weather Bureau is not ruling out the possibility of this intensifying into a tropical cyclone. If this happens, it could be the first storm to hit the Philippines this year, and it will be named Amang. Today, the trough of the LPA is expected to bring rains over eastern Visayas and Caraga region.
Maging bagyo man o hindi, itong low pressure area na ito, ay inaasahan natin posibleng maka-apekto ito dito sa may bahagi ho ng Eastern Visayas at gayon din dito sa may bahagi ng Southern Luzon. Maaari pa itong dumikit sa may bahagi ho ng Quezon Aurora area. So patuloy pa rin natin itong imo-monitor.
Other parts of the country will meanwhile be affected by the northeasterly surface wind flow, which can cause scattered rain showers and thunderstorms. Affected areas include parts of Luzon, the western portion of Visayas, and some areas in Mindanao. It turns out the risk of disinformation are more concerning than the apocalyptic scenarios that have everyone worrying about artificial intelligence. More of that courtesy of Bloomberg.
This hype around the intelligence part of artificial intelligence seems to be a little bit making it more of the hype cycle. What are the real issues, do you think?
Yeah, so it's kind of telling that many of the people who are most worried about these technologies are also the people who are selling these technologies. And you can kind of see why, because if you're trying to sell something, it's very useful to say, this might be too powerful, might be too scary. Now, that's maybe a cynical way to look at it, but as this piece points out, I think the kind of conversation around AI overlooks the issue of misinformation, which I would argue, and I think many others argue, is the real concern. So we're not talking about super intelligence taking over, turning us all into paper clips. We're talking about our social media, our search engines, basically all of our information consumption being flooded with garbage or stuff that kind of looks real but not real. So you think about junky search results, junk, fake stuff on social media. That's the sort of thing.
Max, Caroline and I have had signatories to the petition on the show, and they don't even agree that a 6-month pause would work. Is there anything that they do agree on, whether they were a signatory or not?
No, I mean, I think that what's interesting about the petition is it brings together a lot of different voices, some of whom would more express the critique that I'm expressing, and others who are expressing this apocalyptic thing. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not sure this letter has been particularly useful or will change a whole lot. That said, there is a possibility of regulation. I mean, there are hints of that, coming from the U.S. government. You could imagine a situation, not where the U.S. government is worried about takeover, but something smaller.
And that's it for this hour. I'm Diego Castro. Join us again at 11:15 a.m. We are One News. All sides, all the time.